Well, what's good? Welcome back to another episode of Levitation, the Sunday series. And we talking about gifts again. There's multiple examples in the word that shows us why our gifts are important. So even though I've did a couple of episodes speaking about gifts, I don't think that there can be a limit on talks about our gifts. And the reason is our gifts is what leads us to fulfilling our purpose. So if we don't recognize and fully operate in our gifts in a pure way, can we really fulfill the purpose that we were put here for? This leads me to a thought. I often wonder how many people really know what their gifts are. If they don't know what their gifts are, how many people have missed out on opportunities that God placed for them to walk into, but because they didn't know their gift, they didn't recognize the opportunity. And this is probably the saddest part of it all. How many people have unfortunately died without coming into a realization of all their gifts? We're all gifted. Everybody have a gift, whether it's singing, dancing, music, drawing, painting, sculpture, the gift of architecture, the gift of intelligence, gift of persuasion. There's a whole array of gifts, and the gift that God has placed in you is meant to open up other gifts. It's meant to open up other opportunities. But unfortunately, because of the world's distractions, we sometimes abandon our gifts and chase after the other things that we think is going to make us happy. Chasing after those things are the safer route. So we sometimes bury our gift for safety. Well, there's a specific parable in the Bible that speaks about playing it safe. And we're going to go over that thing right now. I'm going to try and make this as brief as possible. Matthew chapter 25, starting at verse 14. I'm going to paraphrase it. Jesus is telling this parable, and he says the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated in this way. There was a man who was going away on a long trip, and he called 3 of his servants, and he gave them some bags of silver. Now I want to point something out. In the New King James Version of the Bible, the money is referred to as talents. They had plenty of names for money that's described in the Bible, but in this version, they use the term talent. What's another term for talent? Gifts. I was able to see this parallel between gifts and money. Your gifts are supposed to be able to provide resources for you if you operate in them correctly. Your gift can lead you to money. I find it strange that everybody always chasing money, but your talent, your gift can equate to money. That's a side note. Back to the parable though. So he called his 3 servants over there, and he gave one servant 5 talents, 5 pieces of silver. He called another one, he gave him 2. And then he called the third one, and he gave him 1. And it says that he gave them according to their own ability. So according to what they are able to do. Here's another side note. Stop looking at what other people's gifts are and comparing yourself. God gave you your gift for what you are capable of doing. If we focusing on other people's gifts, we're not able to fully operate in our own to the fullest capacity. Back to the parable though. The man gave his servants the pieces of silver, and he went on his way. Then it says the one who had 5 made 5 more talents. The one who had 2 got 2 more pieces of silver. But the one who had 1 took his talent and buried it in the ground. So after some time, the man came back and went to his servants. The one who gained 5 more talents went to the man and said, look, I gained 5 more talents from the 5 that you gave me. In verse 21, it says, his Lord says to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You are faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He went to the second servant, and the servant said, I made 2 more talents from the 2 that you gave me. The man said the exact same thing he said to the one with the 5. Then he went to the third servant. In verse 24, it says the servant with the 1 bag of silver came and said, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crop you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back. And then verse 26, but the master replied, you wicked and lazy servant, if you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it. Then he ordered, take the money from this servant and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. How many people we know used to could do some things, but can't do them no more? I know somebody who was a beast on the trumpet. a beast. And I believe that truly was a gift from God. But because the lack of work in that area, because the abandonment of that gift, even if he had the time to operate in those gifts and learn, I don't think he would be half as good as what he had the potential of being. And here's the thing, the ones who multiplied their gifts, that's what the man applauded. So what that tells me is, it don't matter how many gifts you're blessed with, your job is to steward over it well. Be faithful over your gift. Your gift is going to open up other opportunities to other gifts, other things you didn't even know that was in you. Observe yourself, seek God, and recognize the gifts that God has placed in you. Once you recognize those gifts, operate in them faithfully and watch it open doors and give us the fulfillment that we're all looking for. Because operating in our gifts underneath God's authority helps us fulfill our purpose. Use your gifts. This is Levitation, where we're reaching the highest potential. Stay blessed.